This is your Sleepless God again, back with What If Percy Was Trained by Persephone and Hades Part 2. So, just starting with the recap because, god damn it, you guys are doing well. 303 right now, last time I checked. Uh, they made it to the school. They really didn't. The reason why they didn't have any people there is because of, obviously, number one, they showed up a lot earlier than previously in the book series because instead of Percy mom driving, and she drives crazy, but not as crazy as Luke, who is old enough to have a license, if you want to know, uh, as well as there is now two monsters, both of them guarding the children. Everything happened very similar after that. Percy fought off the monsters as best as well, but having two monsters by yourself is still a hard task, even for a person like Percy fucking Jackson. That's what his name is, in my opinion. And Annabeth got captured, as Percy got shot at by multiple rounds. God forbid. After that, the hunters showed up and killed the last monster. As Percy started trying to take care of the D'Angelos, and Nico D'Angelo and I had it. Bianca D'Angelo, particularly, because those are the only D'Angelos that matter in this universe. One of the hunters took Bianca. Percy threatened her. Bianca actually did want to go with her. Now let's start the what if. Now, with the hunters kind of surrounding the team, as it is right now Talia that is pissed, Luke that's trying to calm her down, Percy that is right now bloody in rage, but trying to keep calm for obviously reasons of Nico, and Nico spouting off facts. Also, you got to remember, Percy doesn't get annoyed by Nico anymore because he wanted to be Nico. He always wanted to be Nico. He wanted him to have a childhood as best as he physically possibly could. Nico had a childhood at least, like maybe be a shitty one. He doesn't know, but he's liking things that he wish he could like card games. So right now he's listening. He's a little brother to him. Same thing as his one-eyed brother from the sea. It's still a brother to him. They're made by him by blood or in some connection. So in his mind, it doesn't matter if they're annoying or, stagnatic, even though Nico's not annoying. He's going to listen to them. Does Nico sometimes get on his nerves a little bit? Yeah. As all of them go to Artemis's kind of little tent, you can see that Talia is nervous. Her hands are shaking, kind of sweating a little bit, actually. Luke is right next to her. As Bianca is right next to the hunter goddess, as Percy already knows what's going to go on. As all he has to say is to the hunter, as the hunter goddess comes in and she says, "Boys." Never understood that. As hunter goddess looks at all of them and starts explaining basically the simple things of this. Mostly that there's been monsters coming up, and there's actually one particular monster in a mask that looks more human-like than anything else that they've been more worried about than anything else. And that's why she's going to send her girls to Camp Half-Blood, particularly with Talia. As you see Talia, her back kind of shivers in that moment. Not out of fear, but out of worry. As Bianca is going to do the ritual. And before Bianca does the ritual, Percy raises up his head and asks, may I talk to her for a little bit before she does this? As the Hunter Goddess says, I don't see why you would have, as he says, please. Artemis. He looks at her with his both different colored eyes, staring at her soul. He could feel the radiated energy of the moon. As he feels the cap on his belt buckle at this current moment in time, almost feeling like he should put it on, but he doesn't. He doesn't go invisible. He just stands up to his complete other height of 5'11" and says, may I speak to her, Artemis, goddess of the hunt and fertility? May I? Go ahead. I don't think it's changed your mind. I'm not changing her mind. She's a young woman. She makes her decisions as she goes. I'm just putting something in her head. That's it. As she walks out and Percy walks out with her. As Bianca says, what do you want to say? I've been dealing with Nika all my life. As he looks at him and just says, stop it. Right now. Before I say stuff I do not want to say around here. As you see the hunters around him kind of stopping, looking at these two. As Bianca looks at him and says, with this, you are taking all responsibilities away from Nico D'Angelo, and you are taking the responsibilities and adding them onto my own. You have now privileged right to take care of Nico D'Angelo, and you're now not one of their sisters or brothers. You're not now a family member of Nico D'Angelo. Now you're a sibling of the hunt. Do you take this responsibility? As his hand lights in black flames. As you see, his hand's now not normal. It's almost skeleton-like. See, if you take that deal, you are now no longer allowed the permission of being a sister of Nico D'Angelo. You will not add secondary rights to any of the closest relatives to Nico D'Angelo, as Hades has made out of his ruling for all of his children to follow. Children of Hades has a different ruling than children of other. For the very simplicity of it is Hades is very loyal to his wife, more loyal than most gods. Think about it. How many true sons and daughters of Hades are there? Except in the Percy Jackson years and Nico D'Angelo and Bianca D'Angelo, how many are there? Truly. Not many. Not many. At least I can think of. Like maybe 3 max. There's 3. One of them hasn't we even talked about yet. So he made a ruling with his brothers and sisters. Or his children. That if one of them dies, the ruling will go to the next in line to take care of the sibling. So no one is without any family. Because all of them is a family. But because Bianca is now trading her godly right, her not her power in a sense, but her responsibility for Nico D'Angelo to go on to the hunt, she is now giving it to the closest in line to him. And that's Percy. And Percy says, if you take this responsibility as to the hunt, shake my hand. If you do not shake my hand, you will not be able to take the responsibilities of the hunt. Because I am the closest relative at this current moment in time to Nico D'Angelo. She doesn't really understand, but she takes his hand anyway. He wants to get away. She wants to get away from Nico. Shakes his hand as you see the skeleton hand go away, as you see that there's one more sign on his head as it pops up. You see a trident, a forest, and Hades sign on his head. I feel like it's the Grim Reaper. I don't really know. We have to figure that one out, actually. I feel like it's just a ginormous, like, just helmet. Thank you. As he goes back into the tent coldly. And he grabs Nico by the arm and says, please, stay calm. As D'Angelo does the rituals and become the goddess of the hunt. As the hunters get all ready, they pack up all the entire camp as him and D'Angelo are talking by the fire about the card game that he likes to play. As Percy starts talking about swordplay, adding on to the conversation with both kind of angles being interesting. As Bianco tries to walk up to them, as Percy says, you've blemished the rights of your sisterhood. Please give him some time. As Nico runs away from Bianca, the only person nowadays that cares about him and keeps him in line is Percy, so Nico doesn't... Okay, Nico still loves Bianca as a sister. But he feels betrayed. He feels like she hurt him. And she can't really fix that. So yeah. As Bianca and everyone else start packing up, Zoe Nightshade finally comes into the picture and starts talking to Talia, particularly. As Percy starts getting closer, as Zoe says, men. She says, I really never understood that. As he stares up to the sky as the sun's slowly coming up, as never understood what, Zoe said. You really suspicion of men. Are we that terrible? You give unholiness to the woman. Unholiness, you say? Give me a second and ask me a simple question. How is women born? How is the gods made? Tell me that. And she looks at him and says, you know the legend, right? A man and a woman, a giant and a beast, had a child. And they had multiple children, called the Greek gods. So whatever in the mindset of this men can be terrible human beings things really came to place. I never really understood because we made women. We all made people. It wasn't just one person. Well, we are sometimes terrible. As you see a flaming chariot pop down. An example, as Artemis and Apollo starts having a conversation with each other, and Artemis is obviously getting a little bit chatty, and they kind of going back and forth a little bit, as Apollo obviously says, "I will absolutely bring your hunters over," as Artemis says, "No flirting with my hunters," as Apollo has to agree and makes a school bus out of it. But this is where Percy says, Apollo, I am so sorry, but I do not trust any of these human beings at this current moment in time with the safety of my ward. So I will have to take my own personal route. As Apollo says, and he tries to make a quote of it as Zoe just says, please stop him, please. As this is worse than he was trying to make literature. As Apollo father says, what is your way? And he says, see, I have the goddess of, obviously, Persephone, the ground itself, earth. As he taps on the ground twice, as you see a little hole. As you see Luke say, what the frick is that? As he says, this is how we're gonna get here, because I honestly don't trust hunters at this point. As though he looks at him and says, what do you mean? As I told you, I don't. As instantaneously you see Talia fucking jump in. As you see Luke says, shit, she's scared of heights. As she jumps into, as you see Nico look down, he says, is it safe? I don't like. As he's like, don't worry, would I ever hurt you? As you see Nico look over to her sister, to his sister, he says, no, you would never hurt me. And jump in. As Nico jumps in and he says, thank you, Artemis, and thank you, all of it. As well as he grabs the mask out of his bag and chucks it at her, and she grabs it. I killed the beast that you were talking about. No worries. As he jumps in, as you see the hole close in, as you see the mask with one eye, particularly the eye that is not green, the eye that's not special. And now, for the rest of the video, I'm going to be explaining Percy's fucking summer. Percy, in a sense, killed monsters all summer long. He cut down creature after creature, mostly with Annabeth. That's why their connection is a lot better, because he didn't go to the underworld, and when he did, it was very on short speeches. He went monster hunting this summer. He went cutting down creature after creature, and for about 8 months of that summer break, he put a mask on and was hunted down by Artemis and the hunters. That's why in the start of the video, he was getting hunted down. In their eyes, he was a great treasure because he had massive pelts of different animals on him, and the mask that he's wearing was made particularly for him to stop time better. But he learned to work without it. As this is where we're going to end the video, I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I'll see you guys all later. Goodbye.